days, viewers. It's early morning. We've got a DB BR 425 to learn how to drive, and we're going to Karlsruhe. Let's do this. Let's dive in, step up, and we shall sit down. As always, take possession of the train as the first thing. Let's put our reverser key in and set it to forward. And let's get our doors open. Use the button here, or you can use the Y or U keys on your keyboard, or the left and right on your D-pad on the controller. Contact signaler is around somewhere. We'll find that later. Let's get on with setting it up. Okay, PZB we want to turn on, and LZB you could turn on if you wanted to. It's not part of this tutorial, so I won't. LZB is the sort of semi-automated train driving, and PZB is the signalling safety system. We're also going to turn on CIFA, which is vigilance. It's the thing that pokes you in the head every now and again when you want to drive, and keeps you awake. Now, doesn't have a brake key in this one, and don't think there's that much else to do to set up actually. Cab light, no. Passenger lights, yes, we want passenger lights, of course we do. Headlights, let's put them on marker lights or high beams. I think marker lights. And window heating we don't need, horn we don't need, sander, spotlight dimmer, so you can turn that on or off, and you can turn the spotlight on or off should you want to. Use the instrument lights, wow. You can dim your displays should you wish to, so you can make them bright or dimmer. Is it time to go? It is time to go. Let's lock the doors. You've only got one controller in this thing. I don't think it's got Tempomat. I don't see a control for it anywhere anyway. So, doors are now shut, so we can drive. There we go. So you just push the handle towards Fahren. We are in monitoring, so we'll have to behave ourselves and stay under 45 kilometers an hour. So let's just back the power off. That next signal should release us, so I'm not going to press the release button for PZB. I'll just be mindful and not go too fast. So on our signal up there, I can see that there is also an 8, which means we can go up to 80. PZB is stopping us. Fantastic. Now we get an understanding of how to release. Alright, so put your throttle back to off, put some brakes on, release PZB, and we should, in theory, just be able to drive. And the brakes are releasing, they are. We can see the yellow needles come down to 0 bar there. And off we go. So it's that simple to restart after a PZB stop. It's a nice simple train to drive. I will release that now. And we are allowed up to 80, so let's use lots of power to take us there because this is a commuter train. And as we approach it, come off the power. Allowed up to 140 now, so let's take that. That's CIFA going off. Just acknowledge that with the Q key. Or you can just press the button, whichever you prefer. Circle or B on the controller, I think, from memory. We're approaching 140 now, so we'll come off the power. We cruise into the morning on our happy little 425. We do have a station coming up in 2 kilometers, Limburger Hof. We are going downhill, so I'm pushing or it's actually pulling it towards me into the Bremsen area just to put a little bit of brake on. And I'm going to start braking for the station as well. She does brake pretty well, but just bear in mind your passenger comfort. You can in this one start reducing the braking as you're coming closer to a stop to just make sure you get to the end of the station. It's quite responsive. And finally to stop. And I'll use the keyboard U key to open my right hand doors. If we have a look out there, we'll see that there's people getting in and out and the doors are open.
Zug fährt ein. Bitte achten Sie auf die Markierung am Bahnsteigrand.
It did sound remarkably like he said something rude then, but, you know, German syllables don't necessarily translate to English, do they? Alright, off we go to Ludwigshafen, Rheingoenheim. Run some power, get us going, and then spank it. She's pretty good at managing slippage, but just keep an eye on your power. You can see we have got a little bit of slip there. If the train's not handling the power, you just reduce a little and you'll be fine. Now this is a 425 that's specific to Pfälzische Ludwigsbahn. We are approaching our target speed of 140 and we've also got another station coming up. So no sooner do we start getting up to speed that we actually start braking. Wipers are down there. Still trying to find a contact signaler. So, haven't found it yet. Pushed the brakes a bit harder than I meant to there, so we might not quite stop in this platform. It's where you start looking around for an emergency stop button and discover you haven't got one. Because we're blowing straight through. Oh, there it is, there, look, whack! Objective failure. No problemo. Alrighty, now I might have done that deliberately anyway, because we want to see how to recover from an emergency stop. So, just pop the button again, pop the mushroom back, bring your controller back, and if we start applying some power, we should see that we can drive. The brakes are coming off. See, told you, it's a pretty simple train to drive. So don't be afraid to whack the mushroom if you need to, this being the mushroom. Now, interestingly, I still haven't found contact signaler. So, none of these seem to be active. Oh, there we go. The red button, contact signaler. Perfect. So, finally found it. I think that's probably about it for this tutorial. I'll take us into the next station. And I will just show you how to shut her down. Actually, just looking at the speed limits, we might keep going because we'll get some PZB action. So we'll keep the tutorial going and shut it down at the end. Sifa. I do actually miss the ones that tell you it's Sifa, to be honest, because you go beep and you go, I wonder what that was. Alright, that'll do there. Doors opening on the left-hand side of the carriage. Now, where are we going after this? Ludwigshafen. And then Mannheim. Alright, we will we'll keep going because we might get a bit of PZB action. We've had a little bit already. I think we'll get it and have to acknowledge because there's a speed limit change coming up. So we can do that. We've already had a PZB stop. So we don't have to repeat that. Alrighty, off we go. Get some power on, get her moving. She slipped a little bit then. Once she settles in, just bring it back up to full power. Acknowledge the 100 hertz because we've got a speed limit coming, so we might as well start getting it down towards that speed limit now. Got a little while to get there. Ziffer. So we don't need to be in a massive hurry. The only thing you have to watch with the 1000 hertz is that you get below 85 kilometers an hour before the bar runs out. Claims it's safe to release, but I'm not going to bother. Because we're only going to have to acknowledge again, I think. Sifa. No, we didn't have to acknowledge this one. Okay. Yeah, we're changing tracks. That's why we had to slow down so much. It's like a nice cherry red morning. Yeah, it looks like it might be starting to rain. Perhaps snow. Excellent. Zifa. Worry about the windscreen wipers after we stop in the station. Alright, that's it. Let's get that stopped there. Get the doors open. When they're flashing, that tells you you can open them. And let's get our wiper setting to not park, but intermittent, I think. There we go. And I think there's a speed thing on there too, so we can go up to, say, 43%. Seems pretty exciting to me. We're loading our little passengers at the moment. We are a few minutes early, a few seconds early rather. I mean, that should tell you that you don't need to absolutely spank the monkey to get where you're going all the time. Close the doors, because of course they close 30 seconds early, don't they? Alright, doors are closed. We have the solid T, which means we can drive. As soon as we're allowed to. And away we go. To Ludwigshafen, Rhein, Bit. Be a little bit more careful on the slippy now because we've got some snow, which means the tracks will be getting wet. thought I'd keep this tutorial going because of the PCB action that we're experiencing, which is good. Just gives you a few more examples. The 1000 Hertz magnet to acknowledge, which I have. You acknowledge which is the page down key, of course. And I started braking for the station rather than worrying about braking for the 1000 Hertz because we were already under the 85 kilometers. It's coming in a bit gently into this station because it is snowy. We don't want to go for a giant slide. It's interesting that there's snow on the ground under the station. Or is that side open, maybe? Maybe that's not glass. Just run her up to the H marker. Vaguely surprised we didn't have a 500 Hertz magnet in there, because we... oops, not emergency brake. Just normal brakes. Loading our passengers now. What have we got after this? Off to Mannheim. That's going to be our last stop on this route. It's time to lock the doors. The signal has changed to green up the front. Got the solid T on the dash there, so we can get out of here. Again, I'm not going to push it too hard coming out of this platform. We have a speed limit of 45 at the moment. We are in monitoring, so we've just got to behave ourselves. I don't see a magnet for this signal. We probably could release from monitoring, but not that much point. I think it's time for a gratuitous bridge shot, don't you? Gratuitous bridge shot. It is a nice bridge. Acknowledging the 1000 Hertz. We're still in monitoring. You notice I am being uber cautious and keeping my speed below 40 because it's snowy and we are starting to go downhill, so let's just give it a touch of brake. Just a touch. Bring that down so you can see what I'm doing. So we are starting to pick up a little bit of speed. We want to get back down below 40. Don't need to go crazy about it though because we'll be back on the flat shortly. Alright, we've got a 500 Hertz. You do not need to acknowledge the 500 Hertz. The buzzing was CIFA. And you'll see the speeds counting down next to the 500 Hertz up there on the HUD. It's because we're heading towards a red signal. It'll eventually get down to 25. So the signalling system needs to think you're under control. Well, the train does anyway. It needs to think you're under control, or it will control you. Ziffer. Here we are arriving at Mannheim, which will shut down. We have another 500 Hertz magnet now. We came out of the 500 Hertz partway through there and then back into it, which is just an interesting configuration of the magnets, I suppose. Now we are running towards a red, so be slow, be gentle. And I can see our stop marker is literally right in front of the red. Oh, actually, we could stop back there a little way. That's okay. And open the doors. All good. So, shutting this one down. Headlights back to off, tail. Window heating off. Windscreen wipers will go to park, and then we'll put that to off in a moment. And we set our reverser back to off. It's going to kick me out of here, isn't it? That's okay. We'll just hit E continue, and we'll go back in free roam, even though there's someone else in here now. And we'll set our reverser to out. And that's it. And put our windscreen wiper back to, it won't let me now because I've been kicked out of the seat with this fella driving, but that's okay. And then we would get out of the train. There we go. And that's the end of our tutorial on running the DB BR 425 that this guy will quite happily take out of here in a moment. Alright, thanks for watching, folks. Hope it's been helpful. If you've got any questions, chuck them down below and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Bye now.
We played a game.